Chapter 9. The Silk and Cotton Story. The Empress Laizu was sipping tea seated under the cherry trees in the royal garden. She had walked around the garden inspecting the flowers and shrubs. Now she sat inspecting the little white cylindrical objects she had picked from the mulberry bushes. They looked like little bolsters, and Laizu was sure she had not seen anything like it before. What happened next is undocumented. But it seems that one of these little things fell into a cup of hot tea. The Empress gingerly dipped her fingers into the cup to scoop it out. Laizu caught a tiny bit of material sticking out of the fluffy ball and pulled it, hoping to fish the now soggy mass out of the cup. But what happened next changed the world of textiles. A fine thread emerged from the cup. It was thin enough to be near invisible, but it was strong enough to not break. Laizu wound the thread around her finger and kept unraveling the little white bolster. Soon she had in her hand the softest, shiniest bunch of threads she had ever seen. Empress Laizu had just discovered silk. Silk is a natural protein fiber created by the larvae to make its cocoon. Spiders, silverfish, beetles, fleas, and flies all create protein fibers. The silk we use for textiles comes from the silkworm Bombyx mori. China kept its knowledge of silk a closely guarded secret. Royal laws prevented anyone from carrying silkworms outside the country. In China, silk thread and the fabric woven with it became so valuable that they were treated as currency. The trade route from China to the rest of the world was called the Silk Route, due to the huge amounts of silk that was transported to be sold in nations far and wide. Legends say that Japan managed to steal silkworms and the process of making the fabric from China. Cotton is truly a yarn that binds humanity. In the years before history, civilizations across the world who had no connection with each other were weaving cotton in very similar ways. No one knows how cotton was discovered. But sometime, when cavemen decided to move to agriculture, they started to grow the wild cotton tree in farms. Cotton is a soft, fluffy fiber that grows in a ball or a protective case around the seeds of cotton plants. This makes it a relative of other popular plants like hibiscus. The cotton balls help the seeds to disperse far and wide. We think of cotton as a white absorbent material, but pure cotton is neither white nor absorbent. That is because nature provides a protective coat of oils so that it does not get wet and rot in the fields. When the cotton thread or yarn is processed for weaving, the natural oils are removed. The earliest evidence of cotton thread and fabric is seen in Asia. When the fabric reached Europe, everyone was impressed with the softness and the breathability of the fabric. They thought it was some form of wool. In fact, at first, many Europeans imagined that cotton came from magical trees that had little sheep growing on its branches. As demand for cotton grew, so did technology and invention. In fact, it was the invention of machines to improve cotton production that led to the first industrial revolution in Europe. This was when many factories were set up and large-scale production of goods began. This was also when new cities became established and human activities moved away from villages to urban centers.